tons of islands.
It also kind of is annoying if someone's playing like a bunch of non-basics or weird lands that don't tap for colors.
Like a slow blood moon.
Yeah, very slow blood moon. You also can play Spreading Seas, which is one in the blue and enchantment aura. To enchant a land when it enters the battlefield, you get a draw card, so it cantrips, and then you just enchant the land to become an island.
Yep. There's Mystic Compass, does similar things. There's a lot of cards that will change cards into islands. Most of them, it's not worth a card to do that. There's like Magical Hack and some old stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, well, what are the cards that care about how many islands I have? This is an interesting one.
Yeah, especially if you're going to find a way to give Cheriks flying, you could also do it to this card, which I've never seen this text before. Floodgate, 3 in the blue for a creature wall with defender is 0/5. When Floodgate has flying, sacrifice it.
So don't give it flying.
Well, you might want to, because when it leaves the battlefield, it deals damage equal to half the number of islands you control, rounded down to each non-blue creature without flying. Pretty interesting. You can also flicker this.
Damage. It's a blue card. What the heck's going on?
Yeah. You can also flicker it a bunch too, so it's got this really strange text on it.
Yeah, and you're mono blue, so it's not going to hit any of your creatures. There's Scourge of Fleets, which is 5 blue, so 7 mana for a 6/6, but when it enters the battlefield, return each creature your opponent's control with toughness X or less to its owner's hand, where X is the number of islands you control.
Bingo, bongo, bongo. Vidalcan Shackles lets you pay 2 to tap it and gain control of target creature with power less than or equal to the number of islands you control, as long as you leave Vidalcan Shackles tapped.
Yep, and then there's Serpent of the Endless Sea, which is a star for 4 and a blue serpent. But its power and toughness are each equal to the number of islands you control, and then Serpent of the Endless Seas can't attack unless a defending player controls an island, which...
Spreading Seas.
Yep, so
yeah.
I just thought that was an interesting thing. Maybe this is the commander of the Cares About Islands deck, or we're maybe not at critical mass, but we're moving towards it. Maybe a couple of years, maybe it's there.
It's a very strange card. I personally think it's just whatever, but if you do build a deck like this, it all of a sudden becomes a lot more interesting.
And the thing I like about a deck like that is people are constantly like asking us, well, how in my playgroup I always get killed first, and how do I not, have them? Well, build decks that are fun like that. They're trying to do wacky things that aren't inherently super powerful, and it's going to get there sometimes and do interesting things, but nobody's going to be like, oh, you only play broken decks all the time, I'm going to kill you first every time.
Yeah, I'm like, here's my mono blue Voltron deck with a crab.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, it's guaranteed going to be a lot cheaper to build, because none of those cards we talked about are very high in price.
And you'll have fun because you're trying to do something weird and wacky, and they'll have fun because they have a chance. And then if you have decks like that, then they might, your playgroup might be okay with you pulling out your combo deck once in a while.
Yep, totally.
All right.
Moving on to Drana, the Last Blood Chief. 3 black for a legendary creature vampire cleric. That's a 4/4 with flying. Whenever Drana attacks, defending player chooses a non-legendary creature card in your graveyard. You return that card to the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it, and the creature is a vampire in addition to its other types. So your opponent gets to make the choice, but it comes back to the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it, which to me screams, put it in Marchesa the Black Rose.
I don't care what you choose.
I don't care what you choose, because it's coming out with a +1/+1 counter, which is really hard to do in Grixis colors, and that way Marchesa will have, basically, that creature will now trigger with Marchesa's thing. This is, of course, 5 mana, so it's a little on the high end, but I thought that was pretty interesting in your world. Don't put Phage in your graveyard.
Don't put Phage in a Drana deck, period.
Yeah. It is definitely just asking for it.
Do put Entomb and Buried Alive, because that's going to allow you to sort of tutor things to your graveyard.
Yep. And then also I think play cards like Phyrexian Reclamation, which allows you to pay 1 in the black and 2 life to return the creature card from your graveyard to your hand, because your opponent's the one choosing. So if you want to be like, hey, they have to choose this card, you can sort of manipulate your graveyard.
You can eliminate possibilities, like, oh, I don't want them to choose that, I'm going to put that back in my hand, and now if they have to choose...
Phyrexian Delver, which is actually pretty funny, because if you have this and another creature, they have no good choice. They have to choose the other one, because Delver comes in, you return a target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield, and you lose life equal to that card's CMC. So it's kind of like Reanimate. My question is, do you play Relic of Progenitus in this deck? Because it says it's a 1-mana artifact. You can tap target player exiles a card from their graveyard.
Oh, they get to choose.
Yeah, so but that target player could be you. Yeah.
Interesting. I think maybe you do, and also I think you do just because you run into a graveyard-based deck, and you're just like, boom, exile all cards from all graveyards, draw a card.
Yeah.
It might not be great for you because you want to play with your graveyard too, but you have Relic of Progenitus, so you can just not do all your self-milling until you've already, burned it or whatever.
Yeah, I think Drana is all about ramping her out quickly or playing like a big mana strategy, and then making sure that you just load up your graveyard with the scariest demons and dragons or whatever, that cost like 10 mana, or Shieldred.
It's super scary because, like, Entomb's an instant, right?
Yeah.
So if they go to swing at you, and before blocks, like, it might